Okay, all right, okay. Hey, here we are, ready to go.
Lights, camera, action.
You bet. Shut the door and way out, Kevin. That was Kevin again. He's getting in on like 5 of my videos. We're here in the interview loft again, and this will be the last interview I do for this newsletter. And we have members of this year's football team here. And so we'll start off over on that end. Introduce yourself, smile for the camera.
Garrison Hulk.
AJ Reed, Eric Swart.
Okay, first question for all of you, because this has really, really bugged me in all the interviews. I've done boys cross country, girls cross country, band, volleyball, maybe one more, I can't remember. Do we have nicknames for you guys? Do you have a nickname for each other? Like you would be obvious, the Hulk, the Hulkinator, G-Hulk, Hulkman. That'd be obvious, but is that a nickname people call you?
It is not.
It is not?
I call him Gary.
It is
Gary?
It's very
Which
short.
my father says.
Okay, not the most creative, but at least how about
I don't think
the
I have a nickname.
Readinator? Your first name's actually kind of a
Go
nickname
back
too.
to Xbox.
Your Xbox?
And no, it's the Aginator.
The Aginator?
Yeah, not really a nickname though.
No, it's
It's
not.
that
Agent.
old.
Where did that come
AJ's
from?
AJ's
We just
short.
call
I
AJ.
just came up with that when I was little, and
You're the Aginator?
yeah,
Yes.
it's my Xbox
Okay.
Live name.
Swart?
Not on Xbox Live,
Xbox Live is
Yeah.
Aginator. Okay, so
Aginator.
technically that's a nickname.
Swart
Alright.
Bros over here.
What is it?
Swart. Swarty Swart.
Swart.
Why Swart?
Either one.
Okay.
I call him Eric. For
At least
short.
you call him by his first
Yeah, I
name.
call him
That does
Eric.
not count as a nickname, but you know what? At least you guys have some semblance of nicknames. When I was growing up, I was Popeye, Jonesy, DJ, Conan. I didn't even know my first name for a long period of time. Okay, but we all had nicknames, and I found throughout the course of these interviews that that's not a big deal anymore. But we need to bring it back. So in your next sport that you guys do, or whatever you do next, I want nicknames.
Nickname?
I want nicknames.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright.
All right, so first we're going to start off, I'll start with from this end now, and then you'll go first on the next question. Well, no, first let's go with AJ.
Oh,
AJ,
easy one, please.
give us a hair tip of the day, because right now it looks like you have found a comb and learned how to use it.
Hair tip.
Yes, hair tip of the day.
Well, I just got some Tresemme shampoo and conditioner. That stuff seems to be working.
Really?
pretty
No
good.
split ends?
Perfectly undone. That is, you know.
What's perfectly undone?
I don't know. It's for the wavy look, I guess. I don't know if it's really working. I got it yesterday.
Wavy look?
I mean,
Is that-
Not
I
really.
like it.
Not
I like
really.
it.
But
I don't know what it is, but it looks.
You know what? The hair. You need to be a little taller. You ever seen Remember the
I wish
Titans?
I was a little taller.
You ever? You
Sunshine.
look like Sunshine.
Sunshine.
There's your nickname.
All right.
Sunshine.
There you
huh?
go. There you go.
Yeah, and he was pretty cool in that movie
He
too.
was.
So that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
But so Tresemme, what was it called?
Perfectly undone.
Perfectly
Yep.
undone.
Shampoo and conditioner.
Hair tip
Gotta
of the day
condition.
from AJ
Gotta
Reed,
condition.
and he does look like. Normally it's a little more of that bedhead look, but
Mhm.
you have run a comb through it today, haven't you?
Must have.
So you just get up.
I was
and-
out of it, so I don't
You just-
remember what I did.
You just gotta get up and roll with it, huh?
Get up
Do you
and
even
go.
look in the mirror?
Oh no, no.
I am jealous and
Don't
envious
look
and
at
all the
it.
above. Okay, all right. So we got hair tip of the day out of the way. Let's go with we'll go with Eric and kind of. I know in terms of wins and losses, this wasn't like a great season, but give me an overview of the season in terms of like some expectations at the beginning. Did you think it was going to be kind of one of those seasons where we could win 4 or 5 games, or we could, you know, it could be tough? What were you guys thinking at the beginning?
I mean, coming season, I thought we were gonna go 4-5. The 2 games that we lost were Rolling Story and Perry. Those were my other 2 that I thought we'd win. But
I hate when that happens.
I was going in with 4 or 5. But honestly, it might not have been like what we expected. But it was probably one of the most fun years I've had so far.
And you know, I guarantee you, in the seasons when the wins aren't coming, you gotta find a way to have fun, don't you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, especially it being our senior years, like you just
Yeah.
have fun. You can't.
All
You can't be
seniors. I
hard
forgot
with
to
it.
mention that they're all seniors and you're all gonna graduate, right? Okay?
Hope
Pending.
so. I don't
This
know.
ain't Oklahoma, you can't go through this twice, so, all right? So, but all in all, you'd characterize it as a positive thing to have gone through.
Yes, and it brought a lot of experience to younger people, the underclassmen as well. So
Yes.
that's good.
So you can leave something behind. Garrison, I know you were injured for the most part, but you've been on cross country and football going back, you know, over the time. How was not fun sitting on the sidelines and watching, was it?
No.
No. What did you do to stay involved with the team?
Well, a lot of times whenever the team came over the sideline, we'd mess around and
Cracking jokes.
cracking jokes.
Can you give me an example of a joke?
No,
Best memory.
No,
Best
Auntie
memory.
is
Noah?
the man.
Is he the man with the jokes?
Man with the jokes.
Can you
I just-
say one of these on air?
I just hate sand.
If you guys want to watch a funny video, look up Snar Wars on YouTube. That is
Snar Wars?
Snar Wars.
S-N-A-R?
Yep,
Wars.
W-O-R-S. There's the Phantom Menace, and then a Cleone man is attacking, and Revenge of the Sith.
Oh,
Those are the three.
you did this on the sidelines?
No, we
No,
were
we talked
focused.
about it.
You talked about it, huh?
Yeah, we were.
So, let's go back to what might not be a good experience, but perhaps something to learn from. The Roland Story game had to be kind of a disappointment, but what did you take away from that? How did that help make you work harder, or what did you learn from that game? Because it was a game I think you guys were thinking you'd win, right?
Right.
Do you remember back in the day when that used to be the rivalry game?
Right.
I loved that game. Man, it was just
Yeah.
go hit somebody,
Mm.
man. What did you learn from that? We'll start with AJ now.
Just that anything can happen, you know. Even if you go in thinking it's gonna be an easy win, gotta.
You don't know.
Yeah.
The
you
other
don't
team's
know.
gonna fight. How was focus different the next week in practice then? Did you guys come out and like laser in a little more?
I mean, I feel like every week at practice we came back like we didn't ever like hang our heads about it. Like we came back
Good.
focused and like we did more. We did extra scout packet stuff. We did extra work. So every week, even if we lost or won, we literally put in more work every single time just to try and get better.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, your district was pretty salty this
Mhm.
year. If you look even at Ballard at the end of the year,
Yeah.
they lost that. You remember that
Hunter
kid when
Knight.
you guys were freshmen?
Mhm.
And you guys actually, that was one of your better games as a freshman, even though we lost. There was I remember a couple instances in there where I thought if we made this play, that play, it's right down to the wire. We ended up losing by 8 or so. But they lost him, they still, man, they finished the season pretty strong. DCG,
Yep.
Webster City, you guys had kind of a murderer's row there. Boone,
Yeah.
Boone, who kind of faltered at the end maybe a little.
Yeah.
They just because Webster City, remember their 8th grade year? I'll tell a little story about these guys as 8th graders. Do you remember the Nevada game 8th grade?
Yeah.
Woo! That was a whooping, wasn't it?
Smoked.
We got smoked. We got smoked. And I was thinking, I'll tell you as a coach, thinking after that game, I was, Coach Davis and I, we didn't always worry so much about the X and O's. We worried about what the team was gonna be like. We had a long talk that night, and we just said, and he had to be gone the next day, and I basically said, I got this, John. I said, we'll get him back on track, or we'll try, anyway. What I remember about that week is we didn't do a ton of X and O's, we just challenged you guys to step up, grow up, and learn from that, because it was, we could have gone out there with RoboCop and freaking X-Men, and I don't think we would have beat them. They just they came out and just lit it. We had, I think you on one play ran around for about 100 yards trying to throw the ball and ended up chuck it in the stands or something. I just thought, this isn't going to be our day. And what was the young man's name that went to Syracuse? Tyler. It was his last game. I felt bad for him, so I had to make a joke about Ben Parent at the end of the game. But I do remember that week we lasered in at practice. We restructured our practice and we went and played Webster City. And they went 5 plays and scored. And then they didn't score again. You guys just, it was awesome.
Mhm.
It was awesome. You played quarterback one series, Seth played quarterback, and
Jake.
no, the baseball, the guy with the can, Nick Thielen.
T.
T played quarterback 3 series in a row, 3 different quarterbacks we scored, every one. We ended up beating them 34-6, and that team, I swear, was as good as Nevada. You guys just in the span of 3 practices, grew up, accepted the challenge, and took it. That was probably one of my favorite games of all time, just because of that. That and if the Vikings ever win a Super Bowl. So, but anyway, so speaking of terms of that, let's go look back over your career in athletics, and football in particular. Best memory.
Best memory.
Besides Davis and I being your coaches,
Yeah.
2 years in a row, that's gotta be top shelf, right?
I mean,
Hard to say, right?
it's hard to pick. I mean, we've done it since like 3rd grade. It's hard.
You
to,
guys were some of the original Little Eagles,
Yeah,
right?
we were
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
3rd grade. We've been playing.
Yeah. Is that part of it? Just
I mean,
being
just
together?
like I was gonna honestly say like there's a group of us guys. I think there's like maybe 8 or 9 of us that have played since Eagles.
Right.
3rd grade.
3rd grade
Yep.
that have actually played all the way through, and so I kind of like that. Like it's kind of fun knowing like where we've come to where we are now. So I think that's like my favorite part is just
Yeah.
seeing the change.
Yeah. Yeah, and you go back and your moms are crying because they're pulling the pictures
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Hell, I remember
My
you
mom
when we
gets-
went to Katie's soccer games. There's AJ over there schooling around with Grandpa and Grandma. He was, I don't know, he was shorter than this table. And you with your sisters coming through, I met you a long time ago. Do you guys have any individual like memories, like you say, that was awesome?
I don't know what my favorite memory is, but probably the most memorable might have been an Eagles when we were like sliding on the mud. Or was that
Yes,
Summer
yes,
Plain
yes,
Train?
yes,
I don't remember, but it was it was a
Oh, it was
stormy
Eagles.
day.
It was Eagles.
It wasn't in 8th grade, although
It was-
one year we had a rainstorm come in and it
On
was
that
all
hill.
sloppy and we
Yeah.
were sliding in
Yeah.
the mud wall and everything, and
Yeah,
I think the
remember that.
moms were not happy with us
Yeah.
because the uniforms.
Penguin slide.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my.
Yeah, you know, here, did that have anything to do with football?
No.
Nah,
it's
but
fun.
it's always the time you get to spend together, and I think with you guys, now Garrison, you came here, were you even in school when your family moved here, or were you like kindergarten? Okay, so you essentially, all your school was here. Were you here, are you a lifer?
Kindergarten through 12.
And you're a lifer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is one cool thing, you guys spent all that time together. And when you look back at it, you're not gonna remember whatever the record was this season. Nah, you're gonna remember, it was fun, how much fun you had. I can go pull out the yearbook I have up there, I got a faded old scrapbook from high school. But I can go back, and I'm still friends, I'm 52 years old, and I'm friends with my buddies from high school. And I only spent 2 years, it was only 2 years I spent in Oklahoma, that was my last, my junior and senior. Guarantee I remember that. I remember the times when I was at Floyd Valley, just all that, and all the work and effort. Nothing was ever for no reason, we did it for a reason. I think that's cool, and I do remember some individual things too. I remember coaching, I remember always, the best feeling was when we're all in it together, you know. There's nobody distracted, it's a team thing. And I think football's kind of the huge example of that, don't you? I mean, you could have some standout players, but when everybody's on the same page, that's the most awesome thing. Give me some advice for the kids coming up. I mean, you might have a couple more years here. I think next year you're probably gonna have to rely on those freshmen this year to come up and play varsity as sophomores. It's a pretty solid group, but as sophomores, you know as well as I do, that's tough.
Yeah.
You're still going against juniors and seniors. Maybe a couple years before we get the quote wins and losses back. Well, what advice would you give to those kids coming up? Besides hair advice.
I try to take things not too seriously, you know. Try to
Never noticed that
enjoy
about
it.
you, AJ.
Try to
Never.
enjoy everything, you know. If somebody's yelling at you, just don't get pissed back at them. Just kind of listen and then.
Yeah, occasionally I'd headbutt people.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
That's a good
Garrison,
point.
what advice? Now you were a state champion as a freshman, right, on that team, right?
Yeah.
And then they went out and got it this year. That was
Yeah.
awesome. But you've been a part of that, and you've been a part of football both. General advice to kids coming up, whether involved in athletics or academics or school or whatever,
Yeah, you gotta like listen to your coaches, listen to
unless they're wrong.
right.
Like-
Well, yeah.
Just don't tell them that, okay?
Right. You just gotta take the advice you're given. There's a lot of good role models out there, and if you listen to them, it'll work out.
Yep. What's your advice?
I mean, mine would probably be like the off-season work or just working at practice. Like, you gotta work for what you want, so I mean, depending on what you want is what you'll work for.
There's only a small handful of young people that are incredibly gifted to the point where they don't have to work. The problem with those people, at some point, they meet everybody else is like them, and then they have to work, and they've never learned how to do that. So if you have any amount of talent, I always said hard work would be the equalizer. I truly believe that. And I think that's probably some of the best advice. I don't care what it is. You work hard, and you do it when nobody's watching. I remember the off-season in the weight room going, man, there's like 5 people in here, and 2 of them are coaches, but we're in there anyway, right? And then we got more.
Started getting huge.
Well, you know, I got buff, and then I got fat and old. So, okay, we have one more thing to do, and you're gonna love this. This is a new segment I'm bringing to the interview loft, okay? All right, now, I have some implements here, and I'll show you how to use them. I cleanse these in a solution of formaldehyde and turpentine. Okay, all right, so you take these, and you insert in your mouth like this, okay? All right? So the rest of the segment, we are going to talk like this, okay? You got that? Okay, all right. Got it already? Okay, now the second part of this.
I got a lot of them.
The
second part of this, I will start. You have to guess what I say. You got it in, AJ? Say hi to the camera. Okay, are you ready?
Uh-oh.
Oh, turn it around, turn it around.
Turn around?
Yeah, there you go
Lord,
now.
Gary.
There you
Yeah.
go. Hello, wardrobe malfunction.
Oh, God.
Okay, all right. You have to guess what I say. Okay? Okay, here we go. Ugh, pumpernickel and pickle sandwiches.
Pickle sandwiches.
You got it. Good, good. Okay. Oh,
Almost.
oh. Lady, oh, your arms.
Lady.
Roller, lady, oh, your arms.
Lady.
Roller,
Runner.
lady,
Lady.
lady,
Lady.
baby,
Lady.
luggy,
Luggy.
arms.
Rocker.
Good job, okay? All right, one more. No. Too much hustle is now will get you really locked up.
Too much hot is wrong. He's really locked up.
AJ, you got 2 cards, okay? Here we go.
Egg. Egg crush hello.
Egg crushed pillows?
Egg crush hello.
Leg. Crush. Hello.
Egg.
Flush! Flush! No.
Pillows.
He?
Pillows.
He? Pillows.
Flush. Flush.
You got it. One more.
Then come cook.
That was easy. Get Garrison.
Alter, integer, marshmallows.
Integer.
Sure.
What? Alton,
Elton.
Marshmallows.
integer, marshmallows.
One more. One more. One more.
Gutteralls.
Gutteralls?
Gutteralls.
Guttural.
Gutteralls. 2 for you.
Okay.
No. Sorry, some of these are not good. I'm not gonna guess. You guys guess.
Fat man.
Alright,
At the chimney.
At the chimney.
At the chimney.
At the
And to the roof.
Into the
One more.
Hey, the high piper.
I have no idea.
Hey, hey.
Hey,
Hey.
Pied Piper.
the hay piper. The hiker.
Hey, the Pied Piper. Hey, got it?
Yes.
Okay, you guys can take those out. Oh, my mouth hurts now. That was a fun game. Hey, these guys have, you three, I will say this, you know, I got to know you starting in 8th grade and freshman year, and some of you before that. I think your time here has been beneficial to the program, whatever programs you're involved with. And I know the coaches appreciate that, and I do too. And we'll miss you when you leave, and I think the legacy you left behind will be some of that attention to details and the hard work in the off-season. Make it, you only get a certain amount of time. If you think about, if you just play 9 games a year, 4 years, that's it, 36 games, you spend more time on the practice field and everything else with your buddies, and you grow up and you always look back and have the good memories of high school. So appreciate you coming by, wave by to the camera. So, and we'll see you guys, we'll get this